Welcome to the Silicon Slopes live event. We appreciate you guys all tuning in. Today we are joined by Max Connect Marketing. We've got the founding partners. I will let them each introduce themselves and then we'll get going.
I'm Kyle Nelson, one of the partners.
My name is Devin Deaton. I am also one of the partners.
Travis Draper.
And Ryan Johnson.
Very cool. Ryan, let's start with you. Tell us about the formation of Max Connect, the founding story, and any fun anecdotes there.
All right, sounds good. Well, actually, I'll turn the formation over it to Kyle. Kyle actually created it, and it was his initial idea, and we'll go from there.
Cool.
Yeah, so Max Connect Marketing was born really out of frustrations of the current employment where we were at previously. So we had ideas. Travis and I were talking about different ideas and things that we could do better for our clients, yet the organization we were at just wasn't open to certain things and changes and things that we wanted to do. So we thought, all right, we can do this a little bit better ourselves. And we got together and we started making plans. And a couple months later, we left the current employment where we were at, and we went up into my attic, and we started making phone calls. And that was an awesome day and also a very scary day to actually be out on your own and trying to survive where you were, just based on your own talents and skills.
Yeah.
I actually still remember the day that Kyle IM'd me while we were sitting at our old ad agency and said, "Hey, Draper, we need to go to lunch." And I think I IM'd back and said, "Oh, cool, who's all going?" And he says, "Oh, it's just me and you." I'm like, "All right, well, when do you want to leave?" He's like, "Well, I'm actually going to leave right now, and you're going to leave in 10 minutes. And I thought, all right, I don't know what this guy's doing, but I like it. I like the culvert idea. And we met at Neater's in Draper and sat down, and Kyle says, "Hey, after all these months and years of talking about us going out on our own, it's time to do it. I'm ready. You're going to come. Let's do this. Go talk to your wife." And I went home that night, and it was a unanimous vote. We were going to make this happen. And walking into that attic with Kyle and wondering how it's all going to work and just looking at each other and going, "Make some phone calls, man. We've got to make our mortgages and make sure our kids survive." So it was a good start, and from there, 7 years of history.
Gotcha. And how's the attic now? Is it still nice?
The house is sold. I'm sure it's great for somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff starting garages and attics. One of my favorite shows is the Dan Patrick Show. They started in an attic.
Yep.
Very similar to what you guys did. Like, all right, we're going to have 4 folks leave at the same time, thereabouts, and get going. All right, so Devin, what was your initial set of clients and what was your initial set of focus in the early attic days?
So interesting with that, and this kind of goes into another story, is us making the pivot to digital. So how I kind of came into the mix is, I had always done digital marketing in my career. I had worked in San Francisco at big agencies handling huge accounts doing digital marketing. My wife and I had moved back to Utah, and I was sitting there looking at offers I had at different agencies going, I'm sick of working for the man, to be honest. I want to do my own thing. And so I had kind of started my own independent consulting company just doing digital marketing. And I had kind of teamed up with these guys, and I started doing some initial campaigns for a few of their clients, and we started meshing well, working together. So as far as like the initial kind of client set, just based on Travis and Kyle's background of what their clientele was, we did a lot in like the medical space with like cosmetic surgeons and LASIK surgeon, pain management, a bunch of different stuff like that in the medical space that I hadn't really done a lot with. But we had some early successes, and yeah, we went from there.
Cool.
So there's actually a little more to that story. Same Neaters. I still remember coming in that morning up into the attic, and Kyle says, "Hey, I've got this connection with this guy by the name of Devin Deaton. We're going to go to brunch or lunch with him over at Neaters." And me and Kyle sitting through that whole thing, listening to what he could do with digital advertising. Up to that point, we definitely used it in our advertising, part of the advertising mix. But I remember when we left saying, man, if that guy can really pull off everything that he just talked about, we're on to something.
Well, I got to tell you, I was selling my butt off to these guys because prior to that, when I had decided, all right, I'm going to go start my own thing, I had a list of 10 to 12 people I was going to reach out and hey, these guys will for sure do digital marketing with me. And it was like one after another, no. I'm like, well, there goes that, right? So I thought it was over at that point. And funny story, I had like redesigned my website, thought it was all cool, and posted it on Facebook. And I think it was Tanya, your wife, right?
Yep.
That saw it and was like, hey, Devin, we had known each other kind of through some family. And he's like, hey, Devin has started doing a digital marketing company. Maybe you should reach out to him. And so when these guys like kind of reached out, I was like, please, like some clients, that would be awesome. And so when they were like, hey, we'll give you a shot, here's $3,000 for a client, I was like, I put everything I had into it, and I was kind of put all my eggs in that basket and thought like, hey, if these guys like it and I have something here, maybe I can do something with this.
Well, and we turned over a few budgets to you. If you remember, there was a cosmetic surgeon, a few pain management clinics. And within our first month, right, and he was giving us reports and feedback throughout that first month, but we had this just unbelievable month-end report with analytics and data and information that we had never been able to get before. And that actually kind of led into when we had a meeting with Ryan. He came in and was talking to us, and we handed him one of those month-end reports. And I still remember his eyes as he kind of rolled through that month-end report and just going, whoa, whoa, we're onto something here.
Yeah.
And that's also how Ryan became part of the agency, as well as he came in and was friends with Kyle's older brother way back.
Yeah,
in the days of
Ryan and I have
California.
known each other since we were born, essentially. We grew up
Yeah.
just a couple streets away in Northern California, and so, you know, we were friends. I was friends with his little brother. He was friends with my older brother. We hung out. We did family trips. We did all kinds of things together. So I'd known about Ryan for forever. You know, he'd lived here and he'd worked at a different company, and we kind of talked on and off over the years. And once we figured out some things that we had going on, like Travis said, and Devin kind of started coming in with the digital aspect, and we said, let's talk to Ryan about, you know, what he can do for the company. So Ryan can maybe take us on his background.
So as Kyle said, so I've been up to that point. I guess I'd been selling media, radio, TV, online, digital for, probably about 10, 12 years, and I've been I was over at KSL for probably about 8 years at that point, and selling KSL radio and then some TV, and then, like I said, some .com, and sometimes you just get that feeling, right? You're just like, gosh, it's time for me to move on, whatever else, and I had a couple of other job opportunities out there to go elsewhere, and maybe some management things to that nature, and I just remember sitting at my desk thinking, neither of those two opportunities feel right, and I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden I get a phone call, and it was Kyle.
I love this story. This is awesome.
And it was Kyle, and he's like, "What are you doing tomorrow morning?" "Oh, what are you doing tomorrow morning?" He's like, "Hey, meet me at 7:30 out in front of this particular business." "All right, cool." So I meet him out there in the morning, and I'm like, "So what are we doing?" He's like, "I just got this marketing meeting. Follow me in here. Just you're one of the team. I don't know. Just follow me." So I go in. I sit through this marketing meeting. Come out, he's like, "Hey, follow me to my house." so
Up to the attic.
To the attic. So we drive all the way out, like a 20-minute drive, whatever else.
Ryan's dialing 911.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is weird. And he's like, "Now follow me into my house." And I literally follow him in, and then we go up this, in the house, and up the stairs into the attic. He opens the door, and there's just some little fold-out little chairs, a couple little desks, big old desktop computers, and there's this bald guy sitting in the middle of the room. And
I believe that's when he called 911.
I'm like, this is really weird now. And so anyway, that's when Kyle's like, "Hey, man, Travis and I, we started this." How long had it been? Maybe 6, 8 months?
Yeah, about that, 6 months.
Something like that. And I sat down and talked to them, and I had a pretty good clientele that was pretty loyal to me, and a solid network of people to reach out to, and that's kind of when I came on board and brought in some of my network, and then we quickly shot it over to Devin for the digital product. And like I said, to that point, I'd been selling digital, but had never been able to report anything beyond. I couldn't even do a click-through rate. Basically, like, hey, here's your impressions that we delivered for you this month with some of the products I was selling. And then to see these intense reports that Devin was doing, it was all new. Nobody had that much information given to him or to the clients, that data. And then it just kind of went from there, and then got a couple dealerships going, and they would go to their 20 groups and refer it out to another, and next thing you know, just kind of started growing across the country.
Yeah, so the way we all came together, it was really cool, and it was like really organic and natural. Nothing was really forced. We all were kind of doing things, moving forward, and our lives just kind of got led together. What's interesting, earlier I referenced that I had started my own little digital agency, and I looked back, and I had known Kyle, but I didn't know what Kyle was doing from a career perspective, and I had never met Travis yet. But I had started that company the same week these guys had started Max Connect, just randomly, right? And so when we look back at that, I'm like, yeah, that's not just chance, right? I think it's meant to be. And so the way we all came together was really cool and organic, and it's been great.
I would add a couple things on that too, how we came together. So, the spouse support has been huge for building, I think, for all of the partners in building this company, because my wife was like, yeah, you should do your own thing. You're ready to go. You can make it happen. So even though when I was like, oh, we got to still pay all the bills, and it's scary, I think we all had really good spouse support. And Devin mentioned earlier that my wife saw a Facebook post from Devin and was like, you should go talk to Devin. And I was like, what's Devin going to do for us? I mean, come on. Me and Travis have this figured out. We're going forward. It's fine. And she's like, no, go talk to Devin. All right. So I reach out to Devin. We schedule that meeting. And, so that was huge. And I remember another pivotal point was when Devin started doing some of the digital for our clients, and the reports were coming in and things were looking really good. I remember one phone call I had with Devin, and Devin's like, hey, have you ever thought about, taking this bigger or growing it or whatever? And I was like, yeah, we're good, whatever. And I didn't want to lead on to anything. Hung up the phone. I remember looking at Travis going, Devin wants to be a partner.
I remember that.
You remember that? And from there, that's where our philosophies, I think from being at other companies and businesses where that just was never a possibility, and we always thought, man, we just want to be, an owner, have ownership and part of something that's great. And I think me and Travis understood that, like, hey, if we really want to become something, at a higher level and really grow this, we need to open that up. And all right, let's talk to Devin about that. Let's talk to Ryan about, being part owners in the business.
When you talk about wife support, what's just funny, my wife the same way. She was like, when I was looking, before I started my own thing, when I was looking at different offers and that, she was like, you're never going to be happy unless you do something on your own. And then also, when she knew that I was talking to Kyle, she's like, yeah, you better go talk to Kyle because clearly you can't sell. I was like 0 for 10 at the point. She's like, you need to get some business. I know you know
Devin's gotten much better at sales over the years, we should
I
say.
used to just be a guy behind a computer. But
Yeah. All right, so you guys are having fun, and you've pushed all your chips in on digital, and that's going well with the new reporting, and you're able to see the results. You've also kind of pushed your chips in a little bit, it seems, on automotive. Whoever feels best answering that question, what was the reasoning behind that, and how's it gone so far, and what's your strategy there?
it all comes back to Texas Tim. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that would be a relationship of Ryan's, and Ryan's been huge for us on that, the new business development and relationships, and he knew someone that got us into some Texas dealerships, and it all went from there.
Yeah.
Well, and the cool thing, too, I know you mentioned earlier that we started with some auto dealerships. So quite a bit of our business, about half of it is automotive. But it wasn't like a strategic thing we did. It wasn't like we sat around going like, all right, what industries we want to go after? Let's go after automotive. What had happened is we had just started doing some work for some automotive dealers, and we were just crushing it for them. I mean, we were killing the results. We were outperforming every other vendor they had. And so Ryan mentioned it earlier a little bit, but they have these 20 groups they go to, where if you're the top Toyota dealer in this market, you'll go talk to the top Toyota dealers in other markets, right? And so some of our GMs were going to these meetings and being like, hey, you guys need to talk to this Max Connect. Like, they're killing it for us. And so we started getting calls in and leads everywhere, and it really kind of grew organically. And then as that grew, obviously our product offering and our capabilities kind of centered around auto, and we developed some really cool strategies that worked for automotive dealers. And from there, we just kind of took off.
Cool. Let's drill a little bit deeper there, and Ryan, you can answer this. So this is buying a car is a considered purchase, according to your guys' website, right? And that makes a lot of sense because you don't really need a new car, or unless you're despondent and your car is completely broken down and you got to get to work, you don't have to buy that car at the time. So what's the strategy? Let's say a new car dealership or a new automotive entity comes in. How are you going to interact with that client, onboard the client, and create the campaign? What's your guys' process?
Want to hit that one,
Yeah,
Devin?
I guess I can take that one too. So the reason why we talk about like considered purchase products, whether that's with homes or financial stuff, mortgages, cars, whatever it is, the reason why we found some really good successes in that, because our approach is very data driven, right? Our whole methodology is we're going to utilize all the data providers out there, all the technology we have, but we're going to identify very specific low funnel audiences. And then from there, we're going to hit them across every channel, right? Display, social, video, search and so forth. And so the reason why considered purchase products have worked well for us is because people are doing a lot of research online before they make the purchase, right? If you're buying a t-shirt or some shoes or something, you'll buy them on a whim, right? You're not doing a lot of research. You're not doing 30 to 60 to 90 days of research, but a car, a home, you're doing that. And so there's a lot of data points there that we can tap into and to identify these people and get in front of them. Kyle can talk a little bit about this too, but for us, like when we walk into a dealership, yeah, we have all this sophisticated technology and all this stuff we're doing, but what's the first thing we always tell them? We're going to increase your sales. That's all
Yeah.
that matters.
And so what auto dealers are concerned about is the bottom line, right? How many cars am I selling? Am I making money on these cars? Are we growing? What's going on? And so anyone can come in and talk analytics and can talk data and just throw an awesome report at somebody, but if they didn't sell a car, then it doesn't mean anything. And so when we talk to our automotive dealers, first thing I'll ask them is how many cars did you sell last month? Was it a good month? Was it a bad month? What are you guys feeling internally? You know, what's going on in the market? How are you doing versus your competition? All of these things need to be addressed first. Once we understand what's going on in the dealership, then we can go back to the analytics and to the campaigns, and we can say, all right, maybe this was a cause of helping us sell this particular model, or maybe we need to realign or readjust this campaign so we get better results next month than that. And so everything that we do is based on business outcomes. It's not based on just pure analytics.
Yeah, sure. So March, April of 2020, you probably are getting a lot of calls from folks that are worried, right? Let's just keep with the automotive, but you can change industries if you want. So you're fielding those calls and emails and everything. What are you guys thinking on your end?
Okay, so
Right.
I'll start with that one.
Let me tell the story of Belize.
Yeah.
Okay, this is funny. So before Kyle gets into like the, tactical way we went around it, I want him to talk about that. But so before that happened, my wife and our family, we were in Belize for spring break for our kids, right? With their school, their spring break was like right when like the pandemic was happening. In fact, we were down there and it was like, I'm getting texts from everybody going like, there's no toilet paper, they're shutting down schools, churches canceled, there's an earthquake, like all hell is breaking loose. And I'm
You're
like,
never going to make it home alive.
yeah, basically. And so we actually were like, yeah, let's extend the vacation a week. This is fine. Like, and we have this, dashboard that shows our sales for that we can log into, and no one had updated the sales yet. So I'm looking at going like, man, our sales are still holding strong. Like, we're great. This is awesome. We're spending more money and all that. We come back and I come to the office and I got a good tan on. I'm all excited and I'm like, so how are things going? And these guys are just like pulling their hair out. And I seriously sat there, I think, for 30 minutes, just like, what the hell? What? Like, I was in this la la land, and like, they're like, we're losing, we're down 20%. But what we, so we sat there for a minute. I maybe sulked for 5 minutes, but then, like we always do, that's why I love these guys. This partnership is rather than tucking our tail, we put our big boy pants on and go to work.
Yeah, so there's a lot of uncertainty. March started out as our biggest month in company history. We had our highest volume of revenue. And within, when everything shut down, March 12th or 13th, whenever it was, our revenue cut by 30%, just like that. I mean, it was overnight. And so we were out visiting our clients, we're talking to them, trying to help them through it, create campaigns for them. It was the busiest time for our agency because every customer needed a new campaign, a new message, a new creative, and everyone was working overtime to try and make this happen. And we were bringing in lower dollar amounts in revenue, and so it was a difficult time. However, we looked at that and we said, okay, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to panic, and what we need to do is be stable for our clients. We need to create campaigns that are relevant for what's going on right now, and we did that. And from since March, April we grew a little bit, in May, and we were very aggressive in our tactics and campaigns. We didn't lay off one person. In fact, what we did is we put out one ads. We hired people. We hired some of our best talent during this downturn because we knew that people were losing jobs and we could probably pick up some very good talent in the market, and we've done that. And so, over these last 7-8 months or whatever it was, we are now way above where we were in March when we had our biggest month. We've surpassed that.
Yeah, we've had 3 record-breaking months in a row. And what's cool about that is, when we had originally forecasted it, right, we're looking at every client, looking at where we think they're going to be. We had forecasted that we might be down like 70%. I mean, we're looking at like we're going to be down 70% in April and 40% in May, whatever it is. And at the worst month, we got down to, I think it was 27%. And so, like what Kyle said, is we looked at it going like, all right, it hurts, right? That's a decrease in revenue. But we're like, hey, we have some of the best people in the industry. We're not going to lay anyone off. We're not going to furlough in. We're not going to cut anyone's pay. We'll go without a paycheck if we need to as partners. We want to make sure we keep our people there.
Yeah.
And we also knew that other agencies would probably be hurting more than we were. So that's what Kyle said. We're like, hey, now's the time to buy low. Like, we can find some of the top talent. We can recruit them over, people that we probably couldn't get in a typical market situation.
Sure.
And so, we always talk about investing in ourselves, right? As we've had more success, people come to us wanting to invest in their companies. And there's some great opportunities out there, but we always talk about, when we analyze the numbers, we analyze things, we come back is investing in ourselves is the best thing we can do, and that was the perfect time to do it.
Yeah. So,
Well, maybe we can point out on our client end as well, those that kept the pedal down on marketing.
sure.
Marketing 101, right? You keep it going during the storm, and when you come back out, you're going to gain market share. And we have case study after case study of those clients that kept going. When they came back out, they were ahead of their competition or moving up the ranks.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got analytics and dashboards, and you can see what's happening, right? But you're also people and have emotions, and you're dealing with a lot of stuff, and it doesn't happen too often. Maybe wars or terrorist events or big financial retractions, but this is one where kind of everyone's kind of feeling the same stuff. So you've got to factor in your feelings and emotions as to the data. How did you guys do that?
I think we took an analytical approach to what was going on. Like Devin mentioned, we had forecasted, all right, what if we drop to this volume? What if we drop to that volume? And as we were forecasting those things, we were talking about, reducing our pay by certain amounts. Okay, we can go without a paycheck for several months or whenever it needs to be, however long, to make sure that the agency is healthy and survives. That we didn't have to draw on loans or anything like that. So we've never taken a loan from anybody to keep the agency moving. And so for us, it's all about talking and giving it time. So we'll talk about it, you sleep on it, you talk about it. So within, a week or two, the right things always surface. And that's what we found as a partnership, is that as we just continue to throw in ideas and everyone has their different opinions, the right thing always comes out on top, and we make the logical and correct decision for the agency.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky because you're feeling one thing and the stuff might show another. The analytics are, and plus you've got opinions coming pro and for and against. So, there's been a lot of good success stories over the last 3 or 4 months as we reconvene these events, and that's kind of a reoccurring theme of keep your foot down on the pedal if that's where it was to begin with, and you obviously have to trust your gut, but then you also have a lot of stuff you can rely on in the form of data and analytics. All right, so digital ads and product development has changed a lot, even since you guys started Max Connect. And somebody's going to create some new thing that you're going to have to use to sell stuff, right? Probably a lot in your guys' career. So how do you guys keep a pulse on that? And what's your guys' timeline as far as like reacting ahead of time versus reacting in the past?
Sounds like Devin's question.
Yeah, I can take that. All right. I mean, to be honest, I think that's kind of one of my main roles and responsibilities now. I used to be the guy that was setting up every campaign. Now I've got an awesome team for that. And one thing on that too, I want to talk about, as we went through the pandemic and all that, I mean, I'm very proud of what we did as partners, but we have an amazing team. I mean, we have a killer executive team. Greg Weeks, our CEO, does a phenomenal job. Phil Case, who's here, our chief client officer, he does an absolutely phenomenal job. Brendan Silito, who's like the director of our digital team, another phenomenal job. Every single person on our team, down to like the lowest level designer, every digital manager, every salesperson, everyone, they liked our sentiment of like, hey, we're in it with the people. We'll take pay cuts if we need to. We're going to make sure the agency's healthy. And every one of them dug deep, and every single one of them, I'm proud of how they acted. And people were working overtime. Our creative team was working 60, 70 hours a week, updating. We had a client that we changed the messaging 3 times in a 5-day span, right? So everyone was digging deep, and you can't do it without people. We always talk about human capital is our number one asset, and through the pandemic, that was shown more than ever. To answer your question, I mean, I'm always just keeping a pulse on what's going on. One thing we love to do is when we kind of see a new technology or new targeting come out, is we will throw it out to our clients. It's like, hey, we want to put you on this pilot program. We're going to cover the cost for it. We're going to, basically use it as a guinea pig, but most of the time that we see good success from it. but we'll launch campaigns for them. We'll see how it's going. We'll track it. We'll analyze it. Yeah, this doesn't work too good. Yeah, this works good. We do a lot with Google. We have a really good relationship with them. We get access to a lot of beta tests and even alpha tests, and we'll test them out. Yeah, it didn't really work well. That really worked well. And so we're constantly changing our offering. I mean, the stuff we're doing today, we didn't do 6 months, 12 months ago. The stuff we're going to do a year from now will be different than what we're doing today.
Sure. So you guys have a real-time intent platform that you've built. Whoever's best to answer this question, describe what that is and how it works.
That's Devin.
Devin again.
Yep.
All right. So this is something I'm really proud of. It's kind of something we've curated over 7 years of the agency. Everyone's been a big part of it. So what we pride ourselves in doing, I mentioned human intelligence earlier, but is taking all of the data that we have, right? We have access to all the data providers out there, all the tools we have out there, and taking that data and putting it into our platform where then we have real people that are analyzing in real time and developing patterns of behavior and various audiences, things we can do, user tracks, all that kind of stuff, and then kind of deploying it across all of our teams. So our creative teams are talking to our digital teams, we're talking to the sales teams, we're reaching out to clients, we're getting access to them, and kind of putting that all together. That real-time intent platform is really how we outperform.
Gotcha. All right, so you guys are a team of 4, and then you've got your whole team to worry about. But unless you have created some magic elixir, you're not going to all agree on everything as it relates to how to build and grow the business. How do you guys make your decisions when it's not uniform?
I would say, I think Kyle answered it. Anytime anything comes up, we'll sit down, we'll talk about it, we'll think about it, and we might even throw out 1 or 2 different solutions. But then we go home and we regroup. I don't know, 2-3 days later, sometimes a week later, and the solution just always just kind of seems to be there, and we're kind of in agreement. I think what's made us successful is we don't jump quick to conclusions, right? We sit back, we think about it, like I said, go home, think, come back, talk about it. I might talk to Travis, Devin might talk to me, whatever, and then we'll just kind of regroup. And it's, I don't know, magically, we've always just had that synergy, and we listen to each other, we respect each other, and it's worked.
Yeah, there's no egos.
Yeah, no egos here.
I don't think anyone has a hidden agenda. We do what's best for the agency. What's best for the agency is going to keep it moving forward, which keeps our employees in a job. It keeps us happy as we see the agency grow. And so for us, it's all about what is best for the agency and how is this going to help the agency. So I don't think there's any egos or any agendas other than what we just described.
Yeah, I think it's big. No one cares whose idea it was,
Right.
or if someone was right, or if they were wrong, or whatever. It's like, as long as the 4 partners with our executive team, we come to the right solution, we're good.
Gotcha. You guys also have a kind of eat what you kill campaign performance, right? That's tied monetarily. How is that set up, and how does that work?
Yeah, I'll give you some background on that. So at the agency, typically at a regular agency, you're going to have the sales team, you're going to have digital managers, you're going to have account managers, you're going to have a lot of different players. And these different players sometimes don't see eye to eye on making things the very best for the client, because it might take a digital manager a lot more work to set up a campaign correctly compared to doing a little more sloppy. But maybe he can do it quicker if it's a little more sloppy, and he can move on to the next. And so what we've done in the agency is basically everyone who touches the campaign or has a part in making a client successful, they are paid based on the performance of that campaign and based on the success of the client. And so, for example, a digital manager, and we do everything in-house, we don't outsource it, so digital managers who are setting up campaigns are paid based on how effective that campaign performs. And so they want to do the very best work. And when we bring on a client, not only is the account executive or the salesperson super excited, so is the digital team and the account managers, because that's more revenue that they get to work on, and potentially they can earn more money because there's more revenue coming in.
Yeah, that seems equitable and smart.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a game changer, to be honest. I mean, the 2 biggest outcomes from it is, in one thing that we saw struggles in a lot of agencies, is the synergy across the sales team and like the fulfillment team. There's usually always such a divide there, right? The sales guys are excited, they're getting paid well, they're closing business, they're coming in, they get over to this fulfillment team, and they're just like, we don't get any respect around here, right?
Sure.
So we wanted to change that, and those 2 teams now are working so well together, right? It's a team thing. And then the second outcome that we've seen is is such a simple thing, but it's probably one of the biggest things for our agency, is that the digital manager who's running your campaign or the creative person who's designing your ads, they actually care. And they care because if they do a good job with it and the client's more happy and they spend more money, they're going to make more money, right? And so that ability to care like that changes performance.
Yeah. So you guys are a service provider. You provide a service to others and hopefully have them or make them sell more stuff. And with that, you guys need to market yourselves. So has there ever been a time where you forgot to turn the switch on, like on a campaign for Max Connect? You don't have to give names or anything, but I guess the more kind question is, who handles your guys' marketing and promotion?
Well,
that you get in
I
front
would
of
say
clients?
one of the coolest things about Max Connect marketing is we really haven't ever marketed ourselves until recently, right? Our first several years, it literally was word of mouth. I would say probably first 5-6 years, I'd say probably 90%, 85-90% of our clientele was referral business. We'd had a few guys, making some cold calls here and there, but very, very few. And I think that's what we've always been most proud of. And also, I think that's why our clients our attrition it's been through the roof, right? Our typical client, if somebody's going to leave us, it's usually the first, it's probably the first 30 days, right? You know what? We don't see eye to eye. But our attrition, I mean, we were able to bring in clients and maintain them, and because they've come to us through people that they know that we've succeeded with.
Yeah, when we find a good match like
Yeah.
that, we've had great retention. I mean, once we kind of get through that first probably 90 days with someone, from there, our year-over-year retention's probably 90% plus, to be honest.
Yeah, that's good. So you guys work with big and small clients. How do you guys differentiate between those two, or do you?
We really don't. When we take on a new client, we look at ourselves as partners. And there's a lot of clients we won't take on. I mean, we've been approached by several businesses, but we know it's not a good fit, or if personalities don't work out, or the type of business doesn't work out, or what their expectations are doesn't look right, then we'll just put the brakes on before we engage in business. But if we engage in business with someone, we feel like we are partners in that business. Now, whether that customer is spending a smaller amount or a higher amount, we give them the same service.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to ask this question in a little while, but I want you guys to think about it first. Dream client that you don't have that you'd like, and then favorite car. So think about it, and I'm going to be asking other questions in the interim.
That second one's going to be tough.
That's why I gave you some time. All right, so you guys have this platform where you are dialed in. You know what you do, how you do it, why you do it, and you're able to pay the mortgage and not work in an attic, which is a great thing. You guys have launched a few other brands, including Four Horsemen Racing, and I thought it might have been the Notre Dame running backs of the 20s, 30s, but it was apocalyptical, right, in the naming of that. But whoever's best suited to answer this, strategy behind that, and how it works.
Why don't you take this one, Travis?
Yeah, strategy behind the name is there's four of us, right? Four horsemen, horsepower, plus the apocalyptic tie there. And now we want to really take what we've learned through Max Connect and apply that to our own businesses. And we've been able to bring on the right executive team over the last several years. The partners are able to step out just a little bit, and because of that and our little bit of extra free time, we've been able to go into Four Horsemen Racing. And that's just us getting between the consumer and the vendor, putting our website there, and then giving them a chance to buy from us and giving them really a reason to buy from us instead of going directly to the vendor. And we've found some good success with that so far, and in a lot of ways it's just fueling our passion for cars, and that's something that we've all got along with very well right from the get-go. Is we all love cars, we all have a passion for speed, we may have different tastes in cars, but in the end it's just all about getting out there, getting on the track, getting on the road, having some fun, and getting together as partners to do that.
Yeah, we turned a passion into a business.
And so Four Horsemen sells aftermarket parts.
Yep, aftermarket upgraded parts, wheels,
Upgraded.
things like that.
That's
So if
the
you want
key.
to upgrade your car and put some aero on it, or put some wheels, or a new turbo or exhaust, things like that, that's what it's for.
What if you have a Subaru Outback of the 2008 vintage?
We can help you out
Yeah,
for
get
sure.
you stage
Yeah.
2 tune, intake, downpipe, exhaust, lower
Oh,
for you. What do you
you'll
want
be
to do?
screaming. It'll be awesome.
And a roof rack, we can get you your roof rack.
Yeah, it's a soccer mom car, but sounds like I should go to your guys' website there. All right, so you've adjusted and pivoted with COVID, as have your clients. You've grown, obviously, quite a bit year over year in revenue and team size and all of that. We're winding down 2020, thank goodness. What are your guys' plans for the next 6 to 18 months, and how are you going to get there?
2 words.
2 words, world domination. That's always been our motto. So everything that we do it because we want to be the best at it. And that's how the agency has grown. I mean, we started with 2 people in an attic, then it was 5 people in an attic, and then it was 7 people in a 1,000 square foot office. And we moved those 7 people over to a 10,000 square foot office. Everyone had, 1,000 square foot plus. But we had a vision, we knew we were going to grow, and it's because everything that we do, we want to be the best in, and that's our world domination motto. And so as challenges have come up or we've needed new offerings, we've gone out and hired the very best people that we can find that meet that specific area of expertise that we've needed, and that's how we've kept everything in-house. And so for us, it's a continuation of that world domination motto that we have, and we feel that we have a team in place right now that we could grow probably another 30% with hiring very minimal people, because we have all the departments in place and all the expertise in place under our roof. And so that's where we're poised to go in the next year.
I want to double.
Okay, I'd mean conservative. Devin's going to double. If we do 50 or 70, we'll be happy.
Very cool. So, yeah, you can't double world domination, right?
It's always world
There's the
domination.
galaxy.
There, yeah.
We haven't talked
We
about
easily
that.
can. We haven't even gotten to the universe yet.
So, all right, you'll need Elon Musk or somebody else to help you with the. Very cool. All right, so let's start over there with Ryan. Dream client and favorite car.
It might sound cheesy, but I'd say our dream client are the clients that we have. I think we're very close with all of our clients.
What a political answer.
Hey, man, come on, dude. But sincerely, though, I mean, every client that I've ever personally had, I can honestly say I'm pretty much best friends with. And I think that we could all say that, whether they're in Texas, Florida, California, or right here in our own backyard. We're good, close, personal friends with them. And that's what's made us successful, is we care about them. Dream car. I'm more of the American muscle guy. I think kind of Travis is too, but I like them loud. I like them fast. I like to annoy people. I've got a GT350, and it's supercharged, and it's pretty much got straight pipes, and about anybody I pass needs to take an Advil. But I kind of got my dream car, but I love it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so me and Johnson get together very well with our cars. We're both Mustang guys. We both have several Mustangs. Keeping with that theme, I think Ford would be a pretty cool client, just working our way up from dealerships to Ford. And I think a Ford GT would be my dream car, so not a bad.
Ideal client for me. I mean, I really like what Ryan said, to be honest. We really do love our clients. They're awesome. Like Kyle said, they're partners with us. For us, like for me, it personally comes down to a couple things. One, I want someone that also wants to dominate, right? We don't want to work with clients who are just like, yeah, we're happy with how we're at. It's like, no, we want people that want to grow market share, expand their business. Also, number 2, that they can run their business well, right? Operationally, from their perspective, the way they price things, the way they operations work, they're kind of fulfilling things in-house. I mean, really good marketing will help, but it's not going to run your whole business for you, right? So it's people that know how to run their business. And then number 3 is people who just have a crap ton of money to spend on advertising.
That's the answer across the board.
Dream car? I don't know, honestly. I'm more like the Euro. Got a Porsche 911 Turbo S that I just got pipes on that is wicked cool. But probably my dream car is the one I have is I have a Mercedes AMG GTC Edition 50. It's kind of one of 500 made, 25 like it in its spec, and it's just a beautiful machine. So,
Yep. Well, for me, I would say dream client would be a client that shares some of our values, some of our core beliefs. I think of companies like Cotopaxi, which does a lot of good out in the world, and they have a great product and a good group. So someone along that line. As far as dream car goes, I would take I'd do the 911 GT2 RS. That thing is just an amazing car. You can drive it every day. You can drive it on the track. It does great in all aspects, and that would be a super fun car to have.
So you didn't want to say it, but what about a Viper? Oh, you've been eyeing those Vipers. Kyle's got one, so.
So Kyle has a Viper, and I've been eyeballing that thing forever. And I've come close on a couple, pulled the trigger, but
Ryan has a different strategy about buying a Viper. He's waiting for the price to go up.
yeah, I
which
know
it has
that's
been,
the
and
problem
so
with those
his strategy's
stupid cars.
working pretty well.
Yeah.
Buy high,
But-
sell low. Yeah.
Yep.
For us, it's anything that has a lot of horsepower and goes really fast.
Sure.
And it's loud.
Loud is nice. It's fun. All right, I should have said you can't have a politically correct answer on the way out, but that's fine. As far as like dream client. So this one will be for Ryan, because you were in the Marine Corps, right?
Correct.
So I've always loved the Army and Marine Corps and Navy. Advertising
the Air Force?
since- Air Force is good too. You know, since I started watching football in the 80s, and, you know, they know who's watching what, and, you know, they know their target demographic. But if the United States Marine Corps was a client, what ideas would you have to get more young recruits signing up?
That would be bad.
You know what? I'll say this about the Marine Corps. They do market, but the Marine Corps kind of takes whoever comes to them, right?
Sure.
I would say the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, they put up this glamorous stuff. The Marine Corps, what's kind of made the Marine Corps is like they'll take, you know, if you want to be a Marine, right? You don't have to be convinced to be a Marine. You're somebody that you want to push yourself, you want hard work, you want to live in the mud, the dirt, the rain, you want to live in the desert, you want to sweat and bleed, and that's who the Marine is, and they know it's there. You don't really have to market to them, but
We probably don't have time for it today, but, you know, and Travis is always one that's good to remind us that one of our favorite things to do as partners is every Veterans Day we take Ryan out to lunch or breakfast or whatever and just hear all the crazy stories he's got from the Marines. And every time, you can tell the same story 5 times, and every time just
it's pretty fun. But ultimately, I would say the Marine Corps doesn't have to market. And then again, another political answer, but Marines know who Marines are, and they find themselves there. So.
Yeah,
There you
which is
go.
probably part of their original marketing years and years ago before any of our times, but I'd agree with that. It still would be fun to try a new angle with such a big account. Well, cool. This has been fun. It's fun to have so many people on stage, and you guys are clearly enjoying the process and your careers and what you're able to do to help people. So appreciate your guys' time, and if somebody is interested in taking you guys on as partners, what's the best way there?
Just reach out online. Yep, find us at maxconnect.com.
Okay, cool. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it, and happy almost end of 2020.
All right,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.